This is recording. Okay, wonderful. So, it's wonderful to have you here for the interview. I would like to welcome you at the Gamescom officially, both from our team as well as from Germany itself. Right?
Happy to have you.
Wonderful. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Sebastian, lead developer of Verho Curse of Faces. The game we are showing on Gamescom.
Yes.
Yeah, the game is dungeon crawler inspired by Kingsfield, Ultima Underworld, Arx Fatalis, and a lot of different games from 90s.
Right.
We try to bring the best of these games and also some modernized, so modern players can also enjoy it.
Of course. I've played your game till I suppose, how long would you say the demo is? I haven't finished it.
Yeah, the demo is 4 or 5 hours long.
Wow.
You finish first of the 4 explorable areas.
Yes.
So more or less like 30%, I think,
All right.
overall.
It's been quite an interesting experience, the challenges there. I've noticed that since you've, first of all, it's of course first person, and you said it's a Kingsfield, like that's a good comparison. Unlike Kingsfield, we're not locked into the square movement pattern, but you decided to go for healing only with consumable items that none must be found, that don't respawn. So it's not all that close to Dark Souls. How did you come to that decision?
Yeah, basically that's how it was in Kingsfield, that's how it was in a lot of different RPGs I want, and I also didn't want people to think that it's a Souls-like.
Of course.
Like the game have a lot of things in common with the Dark Souls game, but I always try to say that it's not Souls-like, it's a Kingsfield-like.
Of course.
And also there is a way to, let's say, replenish the potions. The merchants in the city or the village in the basically start of the game can sell you some mana and health potion, but there is also a limit to it. He will not sell you more if you have over 10.
Ah, very interesting. I haven't reached that point yet, but so it's, I guess it's both leaning in the direction of Kingsfield as well as, for example, Bloodborne.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, well, which is of course also something that the gaming scene is lacking at the current time. Wonderful. The art style is quite interesting. I've asked your publisher guy, he said you work a lot with the game assets.
Yeah, we are the team of 3. We have a music composer, we have sound designer, and I'm doing the rest. I'm making the scripts, the visuals, and the visuals are basically merge of 2 things. First of all, I wanted the game to be in kind of like this Kingsfield-ish, PS1, PS2 style, but I also never done a models before that. I was pretty experienced programmer, but I was pretty newbie with the 3D art, so I thought that this style would be the easiest to make just look good, I think.
Of course. Well, in my personal opinion, you've certainly managed to achieve that. I think that everything about the visuals of the game is excellent. The gameplay as well. I'm still not entirely sure how I'm supposed to dodge the leap attack from the worms. I forgot what they were called.
Biters.
Biters, that's right. I don't know how I'm supposed to dodge the leap attack. I think I would need like a side dash for that.
It's pretty easy, honestly. You just need to go back and in the middle of side, right or left.
All right. I guess that was difficult to do with the touchpad of my laptop.
Yeah, I think with the mouse it wouldn't be a problem.
Probably yes. It's. I guess I was trying to play it on console controller mode, maybe.
Yeah, the controller was pretty good. We also have everything made for the Steam Deck, so if anyone wants to play on Steam Deck, it works perfectly.
Right. So it's also Linux compatible.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. That's a good way to hear.
Proton, but the Proton is built in the Steam, so yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, I've installed Linux on my desktop PC, so I've managed to experience quite a few games that you can't run on the Proton and then your entire PC crashes. It's been a struggle the last year or so, but it's wonderful to hear. So, about the game, the story is quite interesting.
Yeah, everything revolves around Curse of Faces. It's the curse that when someone sees another face, for example, you see my face, we are both dead.
You're right. I actually meant to ask about that. This probably gets explained later in the game, but what happens if one person is wearing a mask and the other isn't?
They both dies. For example, if I see your face, I have mask, you are not having mask, we are both dying immediately. Okay. And that's actually not that good explained in the current intro, but we already have prepared the new intro that will be coming to game pretty soon, and of course before the release.
Okay.
Also the Curse of Faces just happened out of the blip So it basically killed most of the humanity.
Yes.
Because of that, the world is pretty post-apocalyptic, but we also playing the game in few hundred years after that, so the world's already starting to rebuilding. But the people still don't know what caused the curse, why it happened. That's the player job. We are going to the cursed land of Yariv.
Yes.
That might be the source of the curse, and we are trying to investigate it and maybe find a way to break it.
Of course. Well, it seems to be during the introduction of the game, apparently one of the characters basically pranks me, or the player character, by telling me that it's unusual that after I entered the area, the path behind me collapsed. And after bypassing the guy and getting to the village, a guy tells me, "Oh no, everyone sees that.
Yeah.
He was just joking with you." Okay, great. It's quite a funny take. Which direction do you want to go with the story? Is it more something grim, or you're more leaning towards this funny side?
I think more of the story will be grim. Especially, I think the deeper you go, the grimmer it gets. Sometimes the more casual or even chill dialogues with the NPC are kinda to mislead you, to lower your guard, and then there are some plot twists that happened later in the game, and I would say it got grim overall.
I've already noticed that there was a guy who was more or less just patches, right? Right at the start. It was directly unbreakable patches. He just admitted that he was going to rob my corpse. Great, wonderful.
Yeah, the thing is, he is kind of combination of the few peoples from Dark Souls, I would say. He's not only the patches, but also have some things from Lothric. And for people who played Dark Souls 1, there is already like red lamp.
Absolutely.
What Lothric could do.
Yes, I noticed that one. It's very, very interesting. So would you like to share something more about how the team has been set up for you? Or your team,
sorry?
your programming team, I mean, the game developer team. You said you have a guy who makes the soundtrack, a sound designer, and you, and that's it? 3 people?
Yeah, that's the 3 people. It started as my after-work project, and I grabbed my friend who is really great Italian composer. After about a year, I was able to get the funding for the game, so now I'm making it full-time. And at some point, we found a guy on Reddit who wanted to make sounds for free. And after 2 months of him making like really crazy good sounds and also like crazy amount of them, we decided that okay, this guy will need to be paid, and he's just part of the team now.
That's wonderful. We've been hearing a lot of stories like that during the interviews that we've been pulling here, because it seems like right now there's a lot of community engagement getting much bigger among the game development scene also. It's wonderful to see. So how long would you like to give some sort of view for the future for your game or for your studio? How long do you want the game to be in the end, roughly?
Yeah, so the demo is, like I said, 4 hour to 5 hour long. The full game will be 25 to 30 hours. Depend on, like for the casual playthrough, probably more if you would like to have like 100%, and also the achievements, which will be, I really like achievements in the game, so there will be a lot of them, and there will be a lot of creative ones. Yeah.
That's wonderful to hear.
There will be also 4 main endings, and also the NPCs have different ends to their paths. So in the end of the game, you will be seeing like the slideshow of all the NPC ending you made. There will be like, I think there is 11 NPCs that have like for 2 or 3 different endings. And there is obviously like the 4 more endings are not like slideshow, but like proper cinematics.
Oh, incredible. Well, I mean, that reminds me a lot of, for example, Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
Has that been an inspiration? Or I always like to ask for inspirations, but at the same time, you don't have to explain too in detail, because it's always a little bit unfair to ask this question. I feel.
Of course. I wasn't really inspired with the Fallout because I didn't play a lot of New Vegas. I think I played like 3 hours.
Okay.
But I was inspired a lot by Kingsfield series, the Gothic series is probably also, this is my favorite games of all time, so there is a lot of inspiration. There is also some inspiration from Dark Souls, obviously. There is a lot of inspiration from Ultima Underworld, which is also one of my favorite games and one of the first dungeon crawlers. And I think also from one of don't well-known game called Hard Truck Apocalypse.
I actually know that.
Oh,
I actually know that. If I remember it correctly, I think I've played it. It was basically this kind of Mad Max-like game where you have your truck and you try to drive it from outpost to outpost, always upgrading, getting different models.
yeah.
Yes, I've actually played that.
I'm happy to hear that. The game have also something unique where the whole air in the world was poison, so everyone wearing the protective masks to wear of poison.
But they weren't half the time. Some of them did not wear masks.
No, they were wearing them all the times, but a lot of them looked like the fake faces.
Yeah,
that's why the
that's
game
right.
have like the really freaky faces.
Yes.
And I was playing that game for like I think 4th time overall at the time that I was coming up with the Verho, having the mask theme. So I think that there's some correlation with it.
It's awesome. I wanted to ask you, like, you said as far as I know, you're from Poland, right?
Yeah.
And you said your sound design, or rather, composer's friend is from Italy.
Yeah.
And your
Composer is from USA.
Ah, wow. I've played the game, and the accent sounds rather, of most of the voices sound like roughly American.
Yeah, the voices are mostly from the community. The game weren't supposed to have the voice acting in the start, but also from the same Reddit post I got my sound designer. There was a guy called Soulless, and he basically have like indie voice acting club, I would say. And they're doing a lot of voice acting. And they made like first few NPCs. After that, we got a lot more bigger community. Currently on the Discord, there is over 300 people, and some of them are professional voice actors that basically wanted to make it for free.
Wow,
for example,
amazing.
we even have one guy who voiced a background character in Dragon Ball and Attack of Titan. Which is kind of crazy.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds like a complete community engagement wonder.
Yeah, the community is really cool.
That's wonderful to hear. Well, it sounds like you're going to have a great future ahead for this project, and we are going to be following it closely. I find it quite interesting. Well, we also have to close up the interview, we have a little special question that we like to throw at the developers, right? And it's a bit of a funny one, but it's, if your game was a food, what food would it be?
That's a good question. I think it might be kebab. And that's because the kebab was made in Germany by the Turkish immigrants.
Yes,
and that's kind of merging the different cultures. And I think with the Verho, we have the Polish guy leading the team, we have the Italian guy making the music, the USA guy making the sounds, and we also have the name that is actually Finnish word. So
what does it mean?
Mask.
Oh!
Yeah, and also curtain, which is much more popular translation, and I learned that a lot longer. So there is like a lot of Finnish people that saying like, wait, it's a curtain, and I'm like, yeah, but here is the like Finnish language book, and there is like, yeah, the mask is also here.
Thank you so much for the interview.
You.
And we're looking forward to hearing more of your game in the future.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.